Hello and welcome to today's webcast with Arctic Paper, who will be presenting the report for the second quarter of 2025. After the presentation, there will be a Q&A session. So if you would like to ask the company any questions, you can submit them in the form to the right. And with that said, I hand over the word to you guys.
Good morning. Welcome to this quarterly presentation of financial results for the second quarter 2025 for Arctic Paper Group. I will focus in the beginning on the general situation. This was a tough quarter for the entire group. We experienced, as all segments, the global uncertainty, turbulences within the tariffs, and also volatile currency situation. This all caused that the macroeconomic situation was difficult, not just for us. For the first half year of 2025, in comparison to the same period of 2025, we had lower net sales. This was mainly the impact of lower demand, but also we experienced some influences of currency volatility. As an effect of lower sales, the EBITDA was also decreased. It was significantly lower than in the same period of 2024. And within the paper segment, it was mainly lower demand for the paper product, but also price pressure. And we also experienced higher pulp prices in the second quarter. Within the pulp segment, they had still the problem with high material prices, mainly within wood, but also the volatility within currencies and the weak US dollar had significant impact. The net debt to EBITDA, which shows the financial situation of the entire group, increased a little bit above 1, which is still a pretty good level considering current situation. And within our sectors of operation, it's still on a good level and relatively low. If we summarize Q2 results, the situation looks pretty similar as for the first half of the year. We had somehow lower sales, lower EBITDA, and net debt to EBITDA, as mentioned before. In few bullet points, how we can summarize the first half. We experienced low demand for both pulp and paper products. Especially the pulp segment was affected by currency rates volatility, in particular unfavorable US dollar exchange rates. The pulp segment also was affected by high raw material costs. We noticed lower market price, both for pulp and paper, with increasing pressure on these prices. The market and supply chains was affected by both uncertainty and turbulences within tariffs from US. The second quarter results were also affected, the net results were also affected by the write-off on some assets in Rottneros Group, which amounted close to 53 million zlotys. On the other hand, in the pulp segment, we plan to have some significant cost reduction, which will restore the competitiveness of this segment and perform a successful share issue.
All right, and I would like to present some more details regarding the operation, the market, and activities for the future. Yesterday, the Rottneros result has been presented by CEO of Rottneros, Lena Eberle, in details, but I just make only short summary of this situation from the Arctic perspective. Still low demand and even some fluctuation regarding the demand and regarding the prices. For the beginning of the year 2025, we noticed small increase month by month, week by week regarding the pulp prices. But then on the end of Q1, we noticed that the market is very stable and the demand dropped significantly in Europe and even overseas. And then since April, we noticed significant drop of the pulp prices, which affected revenues and the result of the overall pulp segment, which partly is offset by positive trend for the paper sector. Now it seems that demand for pulp globally is very low. It's mainly due to low demand of a global economy and also the tariff turbulences. It's quite significant expense regarding the export to US. It seems that export of the pulp from Canada to US is still on the zero tariffs, and the export of the eucalyptus pulp from Latin America to US would be even up to 50% taxated on the tariffs. Then significant influence regarding the currencies. We have most of the costs in Swedish krona, partly also in euros, but the total sales in our pulp segment is mainly counted in US dollars. Recently, we see some small recovery of the exchange rate between Swedish krona and dollar, but still it's a significant lower compared it was last quarter or even beginning of this year before Trump goes on duty. Operating rates is growing. We have a very good progress regarding the chemical pulp in Vallvik mill. I hope that it seems that probably 2025 will be the best year regarding the volume produced by Vallvik mill. And we have those struggle regarding low demand for mechanical pulp, which is mainly due to low demand in China. Please point out that at least 20% of our pulp sales was dedicated for China. And 2025, it's affected by, first of all, low export from China to US. Secondly, low domestic consumption and significant increase of the domestic pulp production. And no big changes regarding the structure of the application for our pulp. I would like to emphasize that still 25% of our business is connected with filter business, mainly automotive. And unfortunately, automotive business, especially in Europe, is on the quite weak situation for probably even for the next quarters. Then we see a very good and positive trend regarding development of the electrical technical applications. The special quality of the pulp produced by Rottneros Group is dedicated for the insulating paper, which is the very important part of the production of special transformers. Development of energy, globalization and energy application of different equipments means the demand for the transformer in Europe is growing up. And even recently, we already started to make some investigation to combine our competence on the specialty pulp production and specialty paper production to be able to even to produce this insulating paper in our Kostrzyń mill in Poland. Paper segment, very low demand. Very huge export of paper from China to Europe, and it's mainly due to the fact that due to the tariffs, import tariffs in US, it seems that Chinese and Korean export to US is limited. Looking for the last 3 months of 2025, we notice significant increase of the export from Korea of the fine paper to Europe, mainly coated, means that we already see a clear competition for our Grexport products. And as well, the Chinese already started to use their government subsidies to cover part of the cost and logistic costs, and they are trying to locate in Europe the surplus of the paper, which is not able to be located in US. Recently, we have seen some kind of stable paper prices. It seems that low demand, low profitability, make a decision for several European paper mills to make a decision not to make a start price war, but rather to optimize the production process, to reduce the resources, and even to reduce capacity. Currently, no so big changes regarding the capacities. So far this year, only 2 paper mills have been closed in Germany, but there are a lot of discussion about new closures in Finland and as well in Germany. And some of them will affect better balancing between supply and demand in our sector. Looking for Arctic performance, we have a quite similar capacity utilization in Q2 compared to Q1 this year. Volume is also quite similar, and we are expecting a small recovery after a summer period. Already in August, we noticed increasing trend for order inflows. And it seems that end of Q3 and beginning of Q4 could be some kind of recovery compared to what was happened during Q1 and Q2 this year. Regarding the exchange rates, quite stable against dollars and against euros. Please point out that significant part of our paper operation are counted in euros. then in Swedish krona, British pounds, and partly also in Polish currency. Unfortunately, still the demand on our key market, Germany, is very weak. I don't see a significant recovery of the German economy, and probably for the next 1 or 2 quarters, so we have to struggle regarding oversupply for our key market, means Germany. No big changes regarding the brands. I already mentioned that we already started to think about technical paper, and recently we did a positive test to produce a special paper dedicated for the pharmaceutical and medical business, and it seems that Arctic is able to produce a high quality paper as a base for medical tests. Unfortunately, the demand on the global is quite limited, but this is rather niche product with very high margin. No big changes regarding the geostructure. We are focusing on Europe like during the last years. Please point out that Germany for the last years was around 25%, and due to this low performance of German economy and low deliveries, we dropped close to 20% 2025. We notice, in fact, quite positive trend regarding the sales to US. Even during this turbulent time, then even you are not able to predict the business terms for the next quarter, we are trying to maneuver and to find a niche product application for our paper, mainly from Munkedals. And we are quite successful. If we just compare the volume of the paper which was exported from Arctic to US last year versus this year, we have seen significant improvements. A year ago, it was roughly maybe less than 300 tons per year, but this year already we sold to US 1500s, and it seems that even we were able to maneuver with new clients. This stable, I hope, stable term condition of 15% tariffs for the exported paper from Europe to US could create a stable business relation with our new American clients. We hope that already next year will be even better. Why? Please point out that even the American domestic paper production is quite expensive. The old, not modernized for the decades, American paper mills have to import the pulp from Canada, free of duties, and from Brazil and the rest of the Latin America, when you have application between 15 even to 50% of the tariffs. It means that if you count all this element of the expensive pulp, tariffs, expensive labor costs in US, in some cases, even the paper imported from Europe, adding 15% tax could be very competitive compared to the domestic US production. Regarding packaging business, quite slow development regarding the kraft paper is also connected with a slow economy development in Europe. We already completed the project of the molded pulp trays in Kostrzyn, and we start already in summer period to deliver first trays to our customers. Hope that next year the revenues from this business and as well from the new segment means wood pellet production will contribute additional 20 million zlotys to the EBITDA, which is roughly extra 50 million Swedish crowns to the EBITDA expected in 2026. There are some problems because it seems that this less green approach presented by American administration could affect our ambitious program to export also reusable packaging to US. But let's hope. What will happen? The power segment is also affected by global turbulences. But as you remember, during the last years, we put a lot of efforts, a lot of activities, and as well a lot of money to develop energy production, green energy production for our production facilities. And as well, we had a plan to increase significantly to generate energy to be sold to the third parties. Recently, during the last 6 months of 2025, we discovered that business environment is maybe not in favor for the new project in Poland and in Sweden as well. Fluctuation of the prices are not helping us to improve profitability, and then already we decided to put on hold some projects. Now we are focusing mainly or even only on the energy efficiency for our internal production processes, and as well to increase green energy production for our pulp and paper mills in Sweden and Poland. On this screen, you can see what was the layout of the site in Kostrzyn, January 2025, when we decided to build additional 10 megawatt installation of PV in Kostrzyn. Then, after 6 months, we are happy to announce this project is completed, and already since June 10th, 2025, we are able to generate extra of 9 megawatts green energy dedicated for our Polish operation. On this screen, you can see the developments between the 2025-23 and the current situation regarding the energy generation, green energy consumption for our paper production. Please point out that the last bar shows only 6 months of 2025, and this is without this new 9 megawatt installation. When we will present our outcome of the energy segment in February next year as a summer of 2025, you will be impressed regarding development, what was done by our operations. Today, we are continuing our project in Grycksbo. It's a modernization of the biomass boiler, and this main concept is to be able to use cheaper material, cheaper fuel, instead of pellets. This project is runs according to plan and according to budget, and the startup is planned for the 20th of November this year, with the full energy impact for the next 2025-2026, roughly 30 million Swedish crowns lower energy costs. Another project which is already ongoing is the wood pellet production line, also in Grycksbo. The expected capacity will be roughly 50, even maybe to 55,000 tons per year. The project will be also completed by November this year. And already next year, we hope to have additional EBITDA from this line, roughly 15 million zlotys. Today, by the, let's say, mid of 2025, the total capacity of the green energy produced by the installation in Arctic Group is over 30 megawatts.
Coming back again to the financial performance. If you compare the EBITDA evolution for a couple of last years, you can notice that 2025 is really a challenging year for us. Historically, we could benefit somehow on the hedging between the paper and pulp sector, when the paper sector was doing better than the pulp sector a bit worse, and the other way around. But this year, in 2025, those not very beneficial factors came together at one time. But we still believe that we can act on this, and we will later on describe the activities we are taking. As for net debt to EBITDA, so the indicator of the financial position, we still consider it as good. The indicator of 1.18 is a very good level, still safe. It comes mostly from the pulp segment. Paper segment is still around 0 or a little below. But we also took actions to make this even this good indicator lower. This, as I mentioned before, this indicator is still good if we consider the other companies within our branches. As Michał mentioned before, we decided to decrease capex for the following years. 2025 will be the last year of increased investments. We will finish what we have started, and then afterwards we will focus on what is necessary only, and see how the market develops and the market situation develops. This decrease of capex expenditures will allow us to maintain better cash flow, which can also later on increase our capability to pay dividends.
We have several actions already started and prepared for improvement of the situation. First of all, we have already developed and implementing a cost reduction across the mills, pulp and paper mills, and also we implemented efficiency improvement program to boost the results. We also decided to make some changes regarding the structure, how the mills are running. There's a plan to reduce staffing. For example, recently, this year, we will install 2 new sheeters, one in Munkedals and one in Kostrzyn. And this new sheeter with the same capacity like 2 old sheeters would be able to reduce the staff by around 16 positions. Regarding the capex, what was already mentioned by Katarzyna, we are focusing to complete ongoing projects, and our plan is to go down with capex and expenditures in next year on the level close what we had already 2018-2022. This efficiency improvement plan will generate the saving roughly 50 million zlotys, which is 130 million Swedish crowns, starting from 2026. Our working capital program is related to reduce stock of the pulp and as well the paper across our mills and warehouses in Europe, and it will release roughly 35 million zlotys, means close to 90 million Swedish crowns. The revenues from the new business areas, I already mentioned this packaging, craft, molded pulp trays, and the pellets are expecting to contribute up to 20 million zlotys next year, and it means roughly 50 million Swedish crowns. But it seems that starting from now, we will be able to lift and to boost our financial position. Today, we have a quite strong balance sheet after capitalization of the rod mills, and this level of 1.1 debt to EBITDA. The debt to EBITDA is one of the lowest in our segment. Normally, it's around 3, and even some mills are reporting recently exceeding 4. I hope that we are already on the lowest element of the business cycle, lowest moment, and all activities with expected improvement of operation and improvement demand could leave us that we will back to the normal result, which are expected by the management, the board, shareholders, and employees. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the presentation here. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll now carry on with the Q&A. So the first question here is, EBITDA dropped to nearly 0 in Q2 from over 70 million PLN last year. What drove this decline, and when do you expect the savings program to have an impact?
The biggest impact on EBITDA, as I mentioned before, had first of all the lower demand on paper, but also on the pulp side, the high material costs. So these factors were even stronger within second quarter, and that was the main reason for the lower EBITDA result. We expect that the next quarter we will see some kind of improvement, but let's be cautious with that too.
Yeah, we see already some positive trend regarding the order inflow for pulp and paper. Normally, always this summer period is quite weak, but the best season for pulp and paper operation is end of August till beginning of December. It means that we are closer to the harvesting period.
Thank you. You mentioned high costs here earlier, and the pulp segment faced high costs, currency headwinds, and an impairment. Will the capital increase and efficiency measures be enough to restore competitiveness, would you say?
Yes, I think so. I think that already we have a quite strong balance sheet on both elements, pulp and paper, and I don't see any reason to make a recapitalization once again. All activities which is already implemented and started in the pulp and paper segments will contribute a lot. And this additional new business area, which will be contributing additional 20 million zlotys next year, also help us a lot. But savings and revenues gives us result in 1 to 3 quarters. But we are more focusing regarding the cash flow, because the company has to improve the situation. And this all activities which is connected to the working capital, which will contribute the result already in this year. And the result of this changes regarding our ambitions in the investment activities will benefit us already in next year.
Thank you. And with the solar park completed and other investments ongoing, how do you balance long-term projects with short-term financial stability?
Of course, this is better always to have a strong balance sheet today and some ambitious project for the future. But unfortunately, today we are in the very turbulent times. not only regarding the relation between US and Europe, but as well this problematic political decision could influence the global supply chains. I already mentioned that regarding the flows between Brazil and China, then from China to US, then from US to Europe. I already mentioned that we already see a significant flow of the paper from China, especially regarding tissue, to Europe. I see already the increasing flow of the coated paper from Korea to Europe, and several European paper mills, which were focusing a lot on the external markets outside of Europe, especially some companies which are focusing on export to US, they have to reconsider their sales strategy. And also for us, it's quite important to have a better understanding what will be the rules for the next 2 to 5 years. I already mentioned regarding that our appetite for growing in energy sector has to be reduced, not only due to the financial situation, but as well unclear regarding the rules. Please point out that I will be not so surprised if this all green energy trend will be maybe put on hold or even to a little bit slow progress, mainly due to the decision of the US government last week that they already put on hold all support from the green energy. And they also already mentioned that energy from the black coal is okay. It will have an influence regarding competitiveness of Europe. We as a Europe, we have a lot of rules, lot of regulation. Since the beginning of the next year, the EUDR system will be implemented as a policy to avoid deforestation. Also, the January next year, the new CBAM system, which has a concept to minimize inflow of this not green energy product to Europe, will be in place. But I will be not so surprised if after some months of the next year, this all very ambitious EU green approach directive have to be revised.
Thank you. That was all the questions we had. So thank you so much for tuning in, and thank to Arctic Paper for presenting here today. And I wish you all a pleasant weekend.
Thank you very much. And already we invite you for our Q3 presentation mid of November. Thank you. Bye.